I, Dr. Ron Prabhakar Devale, welcome you all. Learning objectives for today's sessions are: after reading this chapter, you will be able to define customer-based brand equity, then outline the sources and outcomes of customer-based brand equity, then identify the four components of brand positioning, describe the guidelines in developing a good brand positioning, explain brand mantra and how it should be developed. So we'll start the session. Customer based brand equity. So we have seen in the previous chapter, and after learning the basic about strategic brand management, we have two questions often arises in the mind. What makes a brand strong and how do you build a strong brand? To aid that planning, three tools of models are helpful. Like the famous Russian nesting Mary Oscar dolls, the three models are interconnected, in turn become larger in scope. The first model is component in the second model, and the second model in turn is the component in the third. Combined, the three models provide crucial micro and macro perspective of successful brand building. So there are three models. First is brand positioning model that describes how to establish competitive advantage in the minds of customer in the marketplace. Then we are having brand resonance model that describes how to take this competitive advantage and create intense and active loyalty relationships with customers and for the brands. Third is brand value chain model that describes how to trace the value creation process to better understanding the financial impact of marketing expenditures and investments to create loyal customers and strong brands. Defining customer based brand equity. So as we have learning and we are finding answers to the questions, two questions will repeat again. Two questions often arises in brand marketing. What makes a brand strong and how do you build a strong brand? To help answer both, we introduce the concept of customer based brand equity, that is CBBE, customer based brand equity. Although a number of useful perspectives concerning with the brand equity and have been put forth, the customer-based brand equity concept provides a unique point of view on what brand equity is and how it should be built, measured, and managed. So, defining the CBBE concept approaches the brand equity from the perspective of customers. Whether the customer is individual or an organization or an existing or prospective customer. Understanding the needs wants of the customer and organization, devising products and programs to satisfy them are at the heart of the successful marketing. In particular, marketers face two fundamental important questions. What do different brands mean to customers, and how does this brand knowledge of consumers affect the response to the marketing activity? The basic premise of the CBB concept is that the power of brand lies in what customers have learned, felt, seen, and heard about the brands as a result of their experience over time. In other words, the power of brand lies in what resides in the minds of customers and in the heart of the customers. The challenges for the marketers building a strong brand is ensuring that the customers have the right type of experiences with the products and services and their accompanying marketing programs so that the desired thoughts, feelings, images, beliefs, perceptions, opinions, and experiences, etc., become linked to the brand. So, formally define the customer based brand equity is that the differential effect that brand knowledge has on consumer response to the marketing of the brand. A brand has positive customer-based brand equity when the consumers react more favorably to a product and the way it is marketed when the brand is identified than when it is not. Thus, the customers might be accepting of a new brand extension for a brand with a positive customer base brand equity, less sensitive to price increases and withdrawal of advertising support, or more willing to seek the brand in the new distribution channel. On the other hand, the brand has the negative based customer brand equity if the consumers react less favorably to marketing activities for the brand compared with an unnamed or a fictitiously named version of the product. Now, let's look at the marketing advantages for the strong brand. You can see on the screen improved perception of the product performances. Then we are having great loyalty, less vulnerability to the competitive marketing actions, less vulnerability to the marketing crisis, then larger margins, the more inelastic consumer response to price increases, more elastic consumer response to price decreases, then greater trade cooperation and support, increase marketing communication and effectiveness, possible licensing opportunities and additional brand extension opportunities. So these are marketing advantages of the strong brands. So let's look at the three ingredients to this definition that what we have defined is differential effect and brand knowledge along with the consumer's response to marketing. First, brand equity arises from the differences in the consumer responses. If no differences occurs, then the brand name product can essentially be classified as commodity or a generic version of the product. Competition most likely would then just be based on the price. Secondly, these differences in response are a result of consumers' knowledge about the brand, that is, what it has been learned, felt, seen, and heard about the brand as a result of their experiences over time. Thus, although strongly influenced by the marketing activity of the firm, the brand equity ultimately depends on the results in the minds and hearts of the customers. Third, consumers' differential responses, which make up brand equity, are reflected in perception, preferences, and behavior related to all the aspects of the brand marketing. For example, including the choice of brand, recall of the copy points from the advertisement, response to the sales promotion, and evaluation of proposed brand extension. The simplest way to illustrate that we mean by the consumer-based brand equity is to consider one of the typical result of the product sampling or the comparison test. In a blind test, in the blind test, two groups of consumers sample a product. One group knows that which brand it is and other does not know. Invariably, the two groups have different opinion despite consuming the same product. This can happen. These branding effects occurs in the marketplace too. For example, at one time Hitachi and General Electric jointly owned a factory in England that made identical televisions for the two companies. The only difference was the brand name of the television. Nevertheless, Hitachi televisions sold for a $75 premium over the General Electric televisions. Moreover, Hitachi sold twice as many sets as General Electric despite of the higher price. So when consumers report different opinion about the branded and unbranded version of identical products, these almost invariably happens. It must be the case that knowledge about the brand, created by whatever means, may be past experiences or marketing activity for the brand or the word of mouth, had somehow changed the consumer's product perception. This result has occurred with virtually every type of product. Conclusive evidences that consumers' perception of the product performances are highly dependent on their impression of the brands that goes along with it. In the other words, clothes may seem to fit better, a car may seem to drive more smoothly, the weight in the bank line may seem shorter depending on the particular brand's involvement. Now we'll see a brand equity as a bridge. Thus, according to the customer-based brand equity concept, consumer knowledge drives differences that manifest themselves in terms of brand equity. This realization has important managerial implications. For one thing, brand equity provides marketers with a vital strategic bridge from their past to their future. So there are two aspects: brands as a reflection of the past and brands as a direction for the future. So making a brand strong, that is brand knowledge. From the perspective of customer brain's brand equity concept, brand knowledge is the key to creating brand equity because it creates the differential effect that drives brand equity. What marketers need then is the insightful way to represent how brand knowledge exists in consumers' memory. An influential model of memory developed by a psychologist is helpful for this purpose. The associative network memory model views memory as a network of nodes and connecting links, in which nodes represents a stored information or concepts and link represents the strength as associated between the nodes. Any type of information, whether it's verbal, abstract, or contextual, uh, can be stored in the memory of network. Using the associative network memory model, let's think of the brand knowledge as consisting of the brand node in the memory with variety of association linked with it. We can consider the brand knowledge as having two components. One is brand awareness and another is brand image. Brand awareness is related to the of the brand strength of the brand node or trace in the memory, which can be measured from the consumer's ability to identify the brand under the different conditions. It is necessary, but not always sufficient step in building the brand equity. Other considerations such as image of the brand often come into the play. Brand image has long been recognized as very important concept in marketing, although marketers have not always agreed about how to measure it. One generally accepted view is that, consistent with our associated network model or memory model, brand image is the consumer's perception about the brand as reflected by the brand association held in the consumer's memory. In the other words, brand association are the other informational nodes linked to the brand node in the memory and contain the meaning of the brand for the consumers. Associations come in all forms, may reflect characteristics of the product or aspects independent of the product. For example, if someone asks you, what come in your mind when you thought of Apple computers, what would you will see? You might reply with associations like well designed or easy to use or leading edge technology, etc. So this particular figure that you can see on the display or screen displays some commonly mentioned associations for the Apple that consumers have expressed in the past. So maybe it is graphics, maybe it is creative, cool, maybe Apple logo, innovative, then user-friendly, educational, fun, desktop publishing, or maybe Apple iPod or user-friendly. So the associations come that in your mind make up your brand image for Apple. Though breakthrough through products, skills, and meaningful, Apple has been able to achieve a rich brand image and make up of a host of the brand associations. Many are likely to be shared by a majority of consumers. We can refer to the brand image of the Apple. At the same time, we recognize that this image varies, perhaps even considerably, depending on the consumers or market segment. Other brands, of course, carries a different set of associations. For example, we can say McDonald's marketing programs attempt to create brand associations in consumers' mind between its product's quality and service, cleanliness and value. McDonald's rich brand image probably also includes strong associations to Ronald McDonald, Golden Arches for kids, convenient, as well as perhaps potentially negative associations such as fast food or fried foods and so on. Whereas Mercedes-Benz has achieved strong associations to performance and status. Volvo has created a strong associations to safety. So different type of associations now and the sources of brand equity we'll learn in the next lecture.